Hi everyone, it's Andrea from Chronic Matters. I just recorded a whole video and turns out I took a picture of myself. If that isn't chronic illness in a nutshell, I don't know what is. So I've been away for quite a few months now. I think my last video went up 4 months ago. I have made other videos in the interim. I just haven't posted them. One of them was cut off halfway through. The other one, I never got around to posting it. I think I had like an appointment I ran out to and then just never posted it. It's kind of like if I don't post it right away and I wait a few days, it's not relevant anymore because I have so many doctor's appointments and things are changing so quickly that what is pertinent today, what I know about my health today is not pertinent, nor what I know about my health tomorrow. So many things have happened in the last 4 months. As you can see, oxygen therapy is one of the things you probably haven't seen in any of the videos. I'm pretty sure I made a video, but I didn't post it since I've had oxygen therapy, but this is relatively new. You can probably tell that I've got weight gain from when I was on here last. That comes down to what I'm assuming is like a neuroendocrine tumor. I can't remember where I left off, but I know that I probably didn't have my CT scan results back from my pelvis yet. I hadn't done a CT of my lungs, so I didn't have any of that information. I hadn't seen my OBGYN and found out all of that information. So there's quite a few things that, like, every time I turn around, something is happening. So, I mean, if you've found this channel, my best guess is in all likelihood you are a chronic illness sufferer, or you have something that is going on that is medically related. Otherwise, the algorithm wouldn't have posted my channel to you. So I think what I want to do, because it has been so long, is make the videos in a little bit more bite-sized, manageable pieces. But I wanted to come on and upload and say, hey, I'm still here, I'm still alive, and my health is ever-changing. And the goal of the channel was always to provide more information from my own self so that perhaps people who are maybe not medically literate the way that myself and my husband are. And I don't mean like literacy as in read a book. I mean very specifically like medically literate with the language of medicine. My hope is still to pass along, to bridge that gap between the underlying pathophysiology that you might have in your body, like the underlying condition, and the medical community, because there's a big gap. And there's one thing that I'm running into recently, and it's that my body as a whole is shutting down as a whole, but my body is looked at in individual pieces by the medical community, which is exactly the same way everyone else is looked at, because the human body is so complex and we know so little about it that you could spend your entire career practicing in one area of the body, and at the start of your career you learned XYZ just to find out partway through that you were wrong all along about this piece of information, and that changes everything else, right? So like, I understand why the community is so broken apart, but I was thinking about this the other day. I think the only time that people are, I'm going to say lucky enough, but lucky is absolutely not the right word. I just can't think of the right word in English right now to say it. But lucky enough to have their body looked at as a whole is people who are dying of cancer. Because oftentimes they'll have a whole board of physicians who sit and look at every area as they communicate to one another. And I actually think that happens a whole lot more in the United States than it does in Canada. From what I've been seeing, it'll be like, you know, you have oncologists that are specialized in the lung and the liver and, you know, the kidneys, and they all sort of look at everybody's cases together. And so, you know, my situation is, I'll give you an example. I went for a CT scan, and the CT scan was ordered by the surgeon in Calgary to find out if I'm a surgical candidate for the two, okay, if this is my pubic symphysis ligament right here, these are the two bones that are on either side of my pelvis. Your pelvis is a bowl. I should kind of go like this, and your spine is like on this side, right? So this is the front hooked by the ligament, and this is the spine. So we knew that this portion on the front of my pelvis was not doing well from the x-rays alone, but they needed a CT scan for a little bit more information. Well, about, I think 10 years ago, I had a stroke, not a stroke. I had a neurological event. I had a TIA, transient ischemic attack, which is like, I don't know, a baby stroke. They found fluid around my heart. They told me you might go on to have a stroke within the next week. 50% of people do, 50% of people don't. We can't tell you what category you're in. And I did have a neurological event that followed that, and it did walk and talk like a stroke, but you know, it took 24 hours to throw me in an MRI machine, and they couldn't find any like blood clot at that point in time, so they decided that it wasn't a stroke. But some doctors say, well, you know, it could have resolved itself within that 24 hours and you still have neurological deficits, whatever. So put that aside. When I had my CT pelvis, it did not come back happy. My degeneration at the front of my pelvis, as an example, if it were a hip, they would replace the hip. But this portion of the body isn't normally surgically worked on. Like, it's not a part of the body that degenerates very frequently. The surgeon in Calgary has done 5 surgeries on that particular area out of the thousands and thousands of surgeries he has performed throughout his whole career. And to resect the bone and then put plates in, they would have to put it into healthy tissue. Like, you have to drill into healthy tissue. That's the only option. Well, it turns out I have like pockets of fluid in my bone, and my bone is jagged and it's degenerating and it's pelvis wide. I have osteoarthritis in both hips and the SI joints on the back. And just to throw in a little bit of fun, and this is where that brain incident comes in, my bladder is distended, and the only possible solution for having a distended bladder is urinary retention over a long period of time, because the bladder is a muscle, right? So then it expands and it won't contract again. So we found that out. I've been saying I have issues with urinary retention since I had the brain issue the first time, and it was brushed off. So, you know, like every time I go and I get a scan, we find something else that requires another doctor, which requires more tests, which requires finding more things. You know, I went and saw the lung specialist, and he told me I have emphysema. I'm a non-smoker. Like, I presume I've had that since I was a child, when my family used to smoke around me. But it's not something I was aware of, nor expecting, and not something I brought on myself. That's not why I have the oxygen, by the way. So in the last 4 months, many things have changed. And I want to make a video, I want to make a few videos that break each area into clumps, because otherwise the video would be just way too long. And what's pertinent to me is not necessarily pertinent to you. Like you don't want to hear about a distended bladder if you don't have one. So, like I'll make a specific video on that. But what's happening is that I'm being sent to all these different specialists who see the one portion of my body, and they, even if every profession had really fantastic ways to communicate with one another, there wouldn't be enough time for a complex case like mine to go through all of it. So I'm basically responsible to know everything about my body so I don't fall through the cracks, so that I can identify when I have fallen through the cracks, because that has happened a few times, and keep the ball moving. Like, where did something drop off? I got a phone call, I think a couple months back, from the hematologist because I want to get tested for mast cell activation syndrome, because if you have long COVID and it hit you neurologically and you have POTS and you have either Ehlers-Danlos or hypermobility, they're finding that oftentimes they'll present with mast cell activation syndrome too. So I would like to rule that out, but only a hematologist can run that test for me. It can't be my internal medicine specialist. It can't be my other internal med specialist. It can't be the neurologist or the lung guy. It can't be any of those, right? So, if I don't get that, it's already been a year now since that referral went in. So, when you're at a year, did I fall through the cracks, or am I just still on the waiting list? It's all of those sorts of things. And then I need to be able to accurately tell other physicians what's going on with myself and what's going on with other physicians and where we're at. We believe I have neuroendocrine tumors inside of me. I'm rather certain I know where it is. So that's another whole thing. And that can disrupt many systems at once, because they can be in multiple systems. Hopefully they're not, but they can be in multiple systems. So I'm gonna pull all those things apart and then upload those videos individually to try to help. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that this was kind of all over the place. It's just me getting back on and saying hi, and that I do still want to build the channel. So if you are also battling chronic illness and it's all over your body and every system is affected, and you're struggling to keep wading through the pond of all these different specialists and appointments and tests and everything like that, and you're getting overwhelmed because this is now a full-time job to be sick, I'm just here to offer support and perhaps help guide that fine balance between being a patient and an advocate for yourself, and kind of that push and pull of making it through the medical community, and how it works. At least in Canada, in the United States, and everywhere else around the world, it does work slightly differently. But that is what I wanted to update on for right now. I might make another video today and post it, but this is my second attempt at this because for some reason I decided to take a picture of myself and then talk at a random phone for 10 minutes already once. And I went to upload it and it wasn't there. So it is what it is. Maybe I'll make another one. Maybe I won't. I have an appointment today, as probably you do. Anyway, I'm going to log off for now and upload this one, and then start making more videos that are a little bit more tailored to all the things that have been going on. So stick around if that sounds like something you're interested in. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.